Before we begin, I'd like to say that this is part 2 of the 2-part video, but they can be enjoyed in any order. Be sure to check out part 1 when you're done. Also, be sure to like and subscribe, because it would be pretty cool, I guess. Anyways, adventure games. They exist. Blah 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 blah. Let's talk about them. Well, more of them. We are going to begin this video by talking about the third category that I laid out in the first video, the more interesting adventure games. These are either cult classics or relatively new things, or generally just stuff I thought was cool to talk about. There isn't really much of a structure here, it's just more of a list of stuff. Let's start with Hungry for Adventure, or rather, the Hungry for Adventure series. This series is made by the developer Sky the Floof. The game is about journeying across Bonkia to save it from Polyhex, or rather Polyhoax as he's called in these games. The series is made up of 4 games, although to be honest I've only ever played the 3rd game, a remake of the 3rd game, and the 4th game. And yes, while the series is complete, the games aren't all complete, sadly. Take Hungry for Adventure Ultimate for example. While that game has enough content in it already to justify it being a complete game, it's apparent from both the prologue and the ending of the game that there is supposed to be multiple worlds to explore, with multiple other levels and bosses. Due to an unknown reason, the full game's release is canned and the entirety of the game has been shortened down to just the first world. It's unfortunate, but like I said earlier, there's already enough content here to justify it being a full game already, so it's not that big of a deal. Overall, this is a really good series, and I even played through it on this channel earlier in the year. The Pyrate Adventure series is based off of the Sonic Adventure games, created by the group of Vuga. There are 2 games so far, with the 3rd game releasing eventually sometime in the future. The first game was released in 2018, with its sequel releasing 2 years later. The story of the first game is pretty standard, with the player completing 7 levels collecting the Dodge Pyrites at the end, in order to defeat Professor Bacon here. It's a pretty standard and lackluster story and combined with the clunky gameplay really shows how dated this one is. However, its sequel, on the other hand, is a masterpiece. Pyrate Adventure 2 is the perfect sequel, with more levels, properly adding momentum, homing attacks, and the spin dash to the moveset, adding rings, enemies, bosses, cutscenes, characters, everything you could want is there. It's a really amazing game and is a really amazing tribute to the Sonic Adventure series, since even the story is improved to be similar to that game, but it even has its own unique twists there. I have no idea when the 3rd game will be released, but I highly recommend checking out this series if you can. It's a blast. Are you going clinically insane waiting for Stars Align to just release already? No? Is it just me? Okay, well if anyone else feels that way, allow me to make you feel a little bit better. Because things could be worse. You could be a fan of this next series I'm going to talk about right now, the Lego Block / Log Block series. Now mind you, this series isn't bad, far from it. The series is awesome, and at least the 3rd and 4th games are pretty awesome. I haven't played the first 2. They are pretty good for old Roblox games. Now, the reason you're lucky if you aren't a fan is because they have been waiting for their sequel game to release for 8 to 9 years. Yeah, you heard that right. That's insane. Now, obviously no hate to developers for such a long wait. Obviously these things take time, but that doesn't make it any less sad for those who have been devoting almost their entire childhoods waiting for the game to come out. When and if this game ever releases, I'm sure it'll be a blast, but until then, yeah, maybe Stars Align's lack of updates isn't so bad after all. A Roblox Quest is a very old one, and I have to admit, I've never played this series, therefore I don't have much to say. It looks cool, it's an old one, adventure game boomers have probably played it. There you go, I talked about it, now I never have to talk about it again. Turbo Boost is another well-known Roblox Sonic game, however it's more well-known for the engine, the sound engine. Other than that, it's pretty well made, not much else to say about it, it's cool. I debated whether or not including Speedrun 4 on this list, but it's not really an adventure game, it's kind of just an obby, so I mentioned it for all 5 of you who care. The Day Noobs Took Over Roblox is another cult classic series that I didn't play until much later. The games follow the adventures of a protagonist who saves the world from various disasters or villains that are mainly instigated by the noobs. The first game I haven't played, but the 2nd and 3rd games are pretty good, and the games are based around a choice thing where your choices matter and affect the story. The 3rd game was recently released after a long development time, and it's pretty good. Although it does feel a bit old for a 2022 game, I still love it. This is a great series. Now, in the final section of this video, I want to talk about these new upcoming Roblox Adventure games. These are games that are still in the works and are relatively new or unknown, and I wanted to share some of them with you. Let's get into them. First off, you all knew I was going to mention this, obligatory Adventure Forward 2 Redux ad. Adventure Forward 2 Redux is a fan creation of the original Adventure Forward 2 that was recently released. It aims to be a complete rewrite of the original story, as well as a remake of each world from the ground up. It uses the same familiar faces from the original game to craft a new experience in the world of Adventure Forward. It's definitely a game that you should check out, even if the demo's a bit rough around the edges at the moment. Relic is an up-and-coming platformer that takes place in a simulation. Currently, it only has a demo out where you can play through the prologue in World 1. It uses cool mechanics and has awesome animations and cutscenes. This is definitely a must-play. Voido? I don't know how I'm going to say that. Voido is a game that hasn't come out yet, but it looks pretty promising. I don't know much about it. It was like a Stars Align partner or something, but there hasn't been a teaser in like months. So yeah, it looks cool. You should check it out. Donkey Kong Country 4 is a platformer based on the Donkey Kong Country games. You travel across the world trying to find out what happened to the Golems, a race of rock giants that disappeared long ago. There are currently 5 worlds out right now, and it's pretty cool. You should check it out. It's a very unique game with platforming that strays very far from the usual double jumps and dives seen in most of these other games. So it's really, really cool. Pixel is another one of these games with a promising demo. It is a really short one, but what's inside is very promising. Keep your eyes on this one. It's gonna be great. Celestial Heroes Distant Sparkle is an adventure game coming sometime this century. It's kind of in development hell at the moment, so I don't even know if it will even release. Maybe this should have been in the cancelled section, but I'm just gonna mention it anyway. Yeah, it exists. Adventure's End is another game that has a super promising demo, but other than that, I don't really know much about it. It's pretty good. Prismatic is a game. It was created by Actinian, therefore I am supposed to mention it. I don't know if you should play it. And finally, Gravity Break, a game similar to Kirby and the Forgotten Land, although it came out much before it. You travel around a candy-themed planet that's being invaded by aliens. The main gimmick is that whenever you jump on a wall or ceiling, that becomes the floor, allowing you to do gravity-based puzzles and platforming. Currently, the demo has 3 worlds out, and it's super promising. However, we don't know anything about development at all because the creator doesn't have a Discord server or a Twitter or anything, so I hope development is going well on it. And that's all the games. Let me know if I missed some of your favorites in the comments below. But anyways, that's all I've got for this. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.